Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Cooler Master's H500P mesh case in gunmetal, also available in white, to mesh or not to mesh. Linked in the video description below will be all the versions of this case and my original review of the non-mesh version of this case. I have done a build on that, Ryzen 7 1700X, using this excellent RGB 6 heat pipe direct contact cooler. Very nice, and it fit in that case very well. But now we've got the mesh version and it's time to put a 240mm RGB liquid cooler into it and do a build in it. In this video, I will be taking this out of the box, showing you completely around it, inside, out, front, and back, and then I will put the mesh and the non-mesh versions on the desk and show them to you side by side. I would like to pause for a minute and talk to you about cloud storage that's astonishingly easy and low cost. Backblaze, $5 a month. I personally use Backblaze for all of my online backup needs and have been doing so since before I had a YouTube channel. Their personal backup option is only $5 a month and it really is unlimited. I personally have over 35 terabytes of files backed up for $5 a month. What a deal. It's also quick. Whenever I create new videos for YouTube, I create raw content and the rendered video output. It is less than a day. Everything is backed up. It works quickly and easily in the background and does not slow down your computer. It backs up all local drives and all of your attached external drives. Your USB drives, for example, will all be backed up as well. Restores are quick and easy, and this has actually saved my bacon several times during my YouTube content creation career. I've accidentally had files get corrupted or deleted. Restores are easy. You can download them for free, or they will Federal Express you flash drives or hard drives with your data on them. Return those drives within 30 days and they refund your money. They're not trying to sell you drives, but if you have many terabytes of data to be restored, downloading might take too long, so they can send it back to you. Your data is safe and encrypted with 256-bit AES encryption, so it's very safe online. You can choose to use your own personal key or the automatic key they generate for you. There are many other features: locate a missing or stolen computer, restore multiple versions of files up to 30 days, automatic or scheduled backups, be notified of your backup status. Link in the video description below, 2-week free trial, no credit card required. Just download it, let it start backing up, see how well it works. Do a test restore without paying any money, see that it works for you, and then sign up for just $5 a month. Due to the size of this case, it is a fairly large mid-tower case. I'm not going to film the entire unboxing because I really don't have room on my desk here, but I want to show you this. This is a good sign of quality. Unlike most of these cases where you kind of have to turn the box upside down and just kind of shake it and cause the whole thing to just fall out, Cooler Master actually has this entire thing inside a mesh bag, and it's got handles. You actually just lift it out using the handles and the case isn't falling apart out of the styrofoam. It is really nicely packed. Much better than most cases I've unboxed. And I just want to show you this to show you how easy it is to take this big case out of the box. With the bag lifted out of the case, yes, it really does look like this, and it does even have the Cooler Master logo printed on it. The two handles on top, the whole thing pulls out. All cases should be this easy to take out of the box. It is so much nicer than turning it upside down and trying to just drop it out. With the case on the desk, you can see the key feature of the new mesh version, which is a mesh front. Now, the top is still acrylic, but the vents on the side here are much larger than the ones here, and so airflow-wise, those are generally going to be okay. But the other thing that everybody wants to know is, does the front panel and top panel come off as easily as they did on the non-mesh version? No, they don't. It is in fact screwed on in the back. In fact, if I hit this with my hand, nope, does not come off. What about the front? Nope, does not come off. In fact, yes, you can pick this up from the bottom of the front and the back, and it doesn't fall apart on you. So for anybody who skipped the non-mesh version of this case because of the reviews talking about the front panel and the top panel that just came off at the least amount of effort, that's been completely resolved. For those of you who skipped the non-mesh version because you didn't like the lack of airflow with those two beautiful 200mm RGB fans, again, problem solved. So if you've been holding off, Let me say that the internal parts of this are basically the same as the non-mesh version, and when I did my build of the Ryzen 7 1700X, I found this to be a very easy case to build in. The cable management in the back is some of the best that I've worked with, the roominess and space inside for any graphics card, and just to route everything and have it look really, really nice, it is very easy to build in. The shroud that covers the power supply basically means whatever printing is on the power supply doesn't matter, and then you've got the SSD mounts on top. So I really like the internal guts of this case, and if you didn't like some of the exterior parts before, they fixed it. Cooler Master does provide a 2-year parts and labor warranty on this, but I'm not exactly sure what you do with a warranty on a case. It's a case, it sits there and it works. I suppose the 2 front fans could be covered if they failed, or the RGB failed, they'd certainly replace them, but it's a case, it's a metal box. Inside the accessories box, we have a bunch of items. They do provide some cable ties, they provide a mount, they provide a bunch of screws, everything you need for inside the case. The instruction manual that comes with it may be small, but it's actually packed with a lot of very good information and good pictures. If you're wondering, now how exactly am I going to mount a radiator to the top, or a radiator to the front, or maybe change these fans for 3 smaller fans, or how do I reconfigure things inside? There's a variety of options with this case, and this is actually quite detailed. It's better than the manuals I've seen with quite a few other cases. Here you can see the case with a beautiful tempered side glass panel, and I just want to show you, yes, you can pick this up from the bottom, from the front. You cannot do this on the non-mesh version of the case. That front panel comes right off. As I mentioned before, this is actually screwed on with a screw. The top is not coming off as well, so they did make a number of improvements. Removing the side panel is very easy. You can see the beautiful tempered glass right here. There is a single flathead screw. Anything flat will fit in here. You simply turn this 90 degrees, and then the front panel simply comes forward. Unlike many less expensive tempered glass cases, this actually has a ridge that rests on. This will not just fall off onto the desk. It also has metal surrounding it, and it has grip handles back here to lift up and pull it off so that you're not directly handling the glass. Just pull up, take it off, and pull the glass off. Now with the side panel off, you can see just how much room is inside the case to work with. You can see the shroud down here, which is actually in 2 parts. You can take part of it off and leave the other side on. Behind this right here are the hard drive trays, the 3.5-inch bays to put hard drives into. And then on top of the power supply shroud, you can see the 2 mounts for 2.5-inch SSDs. Now both the front panel and the top panels do come off. You can certainly install standalone fans or liquid radiators on the top, and you can either replace the existing fans or simply mount a radiator behind them inside the case. The case does come with 1 rear-mounted exhaust fan, but that is certainly replaceable if you want to install a 120 or 140 millimeter liquid cooler back there. But if you're buying a case like this, you might want to consider something like a 240 or 280 mounted on the top and leave the exhaust fan in the back. Looking at the back of the case, you can see several things. Most notably at the top up here in the middle, you can see the screw that you now must remove to take the top off. You didn't have to do that on the non-mesh version because it just came right off. The rest of the back is basically the same. You've got your 2 slots here for vertically mounted GPUs if you want to do that. The standard slots, you can see the power supply hole on the bottom, the fan mount here, and the I/O shield. Just like in the non-mesh version, I really like the way the cutout for the I/O shield works because it is recessed back from the case. The fan mount here does not block the I/O shield. If you have a motherboard that's got a cover or something around the I/O shield, sometimes they don't fit very well with the fans in the back. You don't have that problem because there's actually a recess here. It's a very nice design. I have now removed the top and the front panel to the case. You can see here the mounting points for fans and radiators. Nice that they did not put any bars in the middle, and they do have both sets of rows to handle either 120 millimeter or 140 millimeter sized fans or radiators. And you can pretty much mount almost anything up here in any size or configuration that you want and control the positioning so you can move it left or right to fit with the components in your system. Furthermore, mounting it couldn't be easier. This entire top rail comes out. There's 4 screws, so you can take it off and mount your radiators or fans to it outside the case, and then simply screw it back on. It is a great mounting system. With the case turned upright and facing forward, you can see what the front fans look like without the mesh panel on the front. Now it's pretty easy to remove, but there is a clip now to hold it securely so you can in fact pick up the case without it falling apart. These are removable, and behind these fans are 120 and 140 millimeter rail mounts similar to what's on top of the case. Now you could remove those and mount other fans on the front. You could put 3 120 or other fans on the front, but frankly, if you're buying this case, why would you get rid of those gorgeous 200 millimeter fans? I'm sure some people would say, well, can I mount a radiator behind there and keep these fans? I guess you could, but no, you probably don't want to. You want the fans to be closer to the radiator and to fit it to provide forced airflow rather than just general airflow. So if you're going to put a front-mounted radiator, you're probably going to have to replace those fans. The back of this case is equally awesome. Now, what you cannot see here is the fact that this is actually a protective shroud for the back of the motherboard. Most cases these days have a big cutout there to access the back of the board for mounting coolers and other options, but it leaves the back of your board exposed. If you have cables running back here, they could come in contact with hot sections of the back of your motherboard. This is a protective plastic cover to prevent that from happening. Now moving over from that, what you also can't see is the cable management shroud right there. There is nearly an inch of Z-depth vertical clearance there for cables. It is one of the best cable management systems I've seen in a mid-tower case. I've built a number of nice cases before, but this probably has one of the largest gaps between the front and back pieces of metal for cables. When I built the non-mesh version of this case, running cables back there was a dream. I kid you not. It doesn't show up on video or pictures very well. Take my word for it. Running the 24-pin ATX cable, the 8-pin CPU power connectors, running front panel connectors, USB connectors, all of that back there, plenty of room, no issues. Now, if you come down here, you can see where the power supply goes. Now, this portion here is exposed, and of course, that's where the power supply goes. It's the back. If you move up front, that is where the 3.5-inch hard drive trays are. Now you can see the two cases side by side. You notice that the front panels are in fact different, mesh versus the clear acrylic. Now it is worth noting that there is airflow on the side here, but as many people have commented and other reviewers have shown, it does restrict the airflow from those fans. Not hugely so for a Ryzen 7 1700 or 1700X, it's not the end of the world, but I certainly wouldn't want to put, say, a Skylake X or Threadripper in here and count on that airflow to cool it off. You certainly have no such issues with the mesh panel here. Now you can buy a mesh panel for the clear case. If you have one of these or you find one on a discount or you check those links in the description below and this is substantially discounted, do keep in mind that for $20, Cooler Master sells the replacement panel. But what they don't do is replace the top panel. I showed you before, you can push on this and it doesn't come up. In fact, you can lift the whole case off the desk and it is strong enough to support it. This, yeah, not so much. That just comes right off. There's nothing. Same thing with the front panels. This mesh panel, yeah, I can pull on that. I can push on that. I can shove on that. Nope, that's on there real strong. In fact, you can put your fingers up here and lift the entire case from there and on the back. You can't do this on that. You'll take the whole front panel off without any issues whatsoever. So, kudos to Cooler Master for making these improvements. It's nice. I am glad that the mesh panel is available for owners of this, just not the new top secure panel, but it's less of a concern because picking it up, you can do so securely with that panel. If I'm going to tell you how nice this case is, I should show it to you built. This has the full computer built in it. You can see the power supply and the cables down here. You can see the motherboard cover covering that, and then the cable management shroud over there completely covering all the cables. I mentioned how easy it was to do. Absolutely, this thing is a dream to build in. It really was easy. Turning the case around, you can see how nice it looks inside. We've got the 6 heat pipe direct contact cooler installed. Yes, RGB fans. You can see the full-size ATX motherboard and the cables run through all those cable grommets. Notice there are not tons of ugly cables on this side because there's a metal shroud on both sides of the cable management channel. You can see that we've got the full shroud installed on the bottom, blocking both the hard drive bays and the power supply, giving a nice clean look. And then you've got the two 2.5-inch SSD mounts as well. Now notice there's a lot of empty space in this case. There is so much room to grow. future larger graphics cards, dual graphics cards, liquid radiators, and basically the sky's the limit. If you want a case that has enough room for almost anything you could want to put inside, tons of airflow, especially with the new mesh front panel, nice looking shroud, and just awesome 200mm RGB fans, put this on your short list if you're building a premium system. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel with that big huge red button directly below, and if you'd like to be notified of all of my videos, click that bell button as well to be sure to get all notifications. Check the links in the video description below, links to both of these versions and the replacement mesh panel for owners of the original case will be down in the video description below. And then of course there's the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of this video. Did you like what you saw? Not like? Are there other cases you'd like to see reviewed? Let me know what you think. I certainly appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.